Hey, so today I had a good idea pop up in my head for a video. I've want to say for about two and a half, maybe 3 years, but I've been carrying an OTF knife or an out the front. Now, before I start showing it, and y'all start sitting there thinking, "Well, I can't afford that. I don't want one of those." It was $30. It's not what you think it is. It's not a real Microtech. It's a Wish clone that I spent $30 on. But the knife I'm talking about, if I can get some light in here, is the okay, this is not working very well. But anyway, it's the Microtech UTX 70 Bounty Hunter Edition. And if these colors are easily recognizable for you, it's because the bounty hunter in question is Boba Fett from Star Wars. Anyway, it's got the Hellhound blade on it that is scratched to crap from using stonewash. It was starting to get real scarred up real bad, so I polished it with sandpaper and then jacked it up on whetstone. But I wanted to go over the pros and cons of carrying one of these. Fortunately, the pros outnumber the cons, but there are some pretty big significant cons that I wanted to go over with. Because for a lot of people out there, they're going to be a huge turnoff if you're wanting a good, reliable, everyday carry knife. For what I do, this thing is great. But let's go ahead and start with the cons. One of the wonderful cons I always have is, or one of the pros I always have is, I work a lot doing pretty much anything and everything. I'm a jack of all trades, but I use a knife a lot, day-to-day life. Have for many years, but I have issues sometimes with closing my knives if I'm wearing gloves, because every guy who works with gloves and uses a pocket knife knows you have to take your glove off half the time to be able to work a liner lock or a button lock or an axis lock, anything like that. These, you got that big old honking switch right there. I mean, it's a piece of cake to hit. In fact, here's some insulated mechanics gloves. Piece of cake. Another huge thing is, if you're left-handed, these things are ambidextrous. Now, the Benchmade infidels have a clip set on one side, but the firing button is on the side. So naturally, it's completely ambidextrous. So you throw it in your left pocket, you throw it in your right pocket, it works the same either way. Microtechs, on the other hand, have a screw on them. Well, this one's got a screw. Actually, they've got a nice little glass breaker that's threaded that screws in, but you just unscrew it and then you rotate your pocket clip around and you can have it left or right. That's also really nice if you have a belt on or something, you're constantly using your knife on and off all the time, and you want to carry your knife on the outside clipped in. It's great. You can throw the clip on the left side if you're right-handed and just pop it on and off like a holster. Works really good. But I've never done that really. I don't care for that because it can hang on anything really and just fall off. But if you like to carry your knife on your left side, that's a great plus. You don't have to worry about a custom left-handed pocket knife or have to fumble around with a liner lock in the wrong direction for you or anything like that. Another huge plus is this is a pro and a con. It depends on your environment, but they either stay really clean or they stay really dirty. What I mean by that is, since this is completely enclosed, obviously except for the slot cut in there for the blade, you're not going to get much debris in here. one place you do want to watch out for is the rails in here for the button, or the switch rather. But I have found pretty much pocket lint and everything isn't really a huge issue. Now, obviously, this being a clone, you can take it apart, clean it and everything. It comes with a tool for the proprietary screws, and you can buy them online if you need one. You're going to lose your warranty if you have an actual real $400 Microtech or Benchmade. But if you're mechanically inclined at all, it's pretty easy to take apart and clean. But you really don't have to do it as often as you would some other more complicated knives, like a Benchmade with an axis lock, certain models, a liner lock, frame lock, anything like that. You don't have to worry about a bunch of pocket lint and gunk sitting there and building up in there and just gumming everything up. I will say you do have to oil these. You have to keep just a very thin layer of oil inside of them. Not too much, because it'll attract pocket lint and it'll get real sluggish, but they're pretty clean for the most part. If you're in a very dusty environment, it'll build up right in here and your switch will get gummed up and you won't be able to actuate it. But that's why I say it's a pro and a con. You'll have to kind of sit there and fart around with it a little bit, see which works better for you, and find a knife that works best for you depending on your environment. But another huge plus to these is ergonomics on them. I mean, it's phenomenal. You don't have to worry about a big gap in there. You don't have to worry about any hot spots here. I mean, it feels like a fixed blade knife for the most part, other than that clip right there that doesn't really bother you. I mean, you can work with these for extended periods of time very easily. I mean, you can choke up on the blade here, you can choke up on the blade down there, you can use the switch. They're very comfortable to work with, which is great if you're breaking down boxes, doing outdoors tasks, anything like that. I would not use these for anything field dress wise out hunting, because if you get any blood on this, your blade's going to gum up and it's just going to seize up and you have to take it apart and clean it. Just stick with a fixed blade for that. But they're really nice. Trying to think. I just keep having cons pop up in my head right now, but I don't know if you really want to call this a pro. I mean, every teenager would say it is, but the cool factor of them is just the neatest thing. Every time you pull one of these out around your buddies, everybody swarms in a circle. What is that? What you got there? Can I see that? That's the coolest thing ever. It's a great conversation piece, and it's really neat. I mean, I don't play games, but it's in a lot of video games and everything. I mean, heck, the Microtech is John Wick approved. But I mean, it does have a huge cool factor as opposed to a Victorinox or a normal Benchmade like a 531 Osborne or something like that. But it's going to impress a lot more of your buddies and start a lot more conversations than a buck 110 ever will. But some of the cons is, one, and this might not bother you. I mean, it doesn't bother me a bit, and a lot of people don't give a crap, but some people hate this. And depending on which one you get, you'll get a lot of that. But I mean, when you look at it, there's really not much blade play in there at all. If you get good tolerances on your particular knife, like this one amazingly actually does have pretty nice tolerances on it, you're not going to have too much blade play. If you get a really cheap one like a Lightning OTF that's 30 bucks, those are a great beginner OTF if you want to try carrying one, see how it works out for you. See if you like them. Those are great beginners. Blade steel's garbage on them, but they're fun little knives. But those have pretty loose tolerances on them. These the Chinese clones of the Microtechs and the Benchmades, it varies. It's pretty much a crapshoot depending on if you're going to get a good one or a bad one. I lucked out, I got a good one. But another con, and this is just the Chinese clones in particular, this isn't really every OTF knife, but your blade steel is going to be advertised as something that is borderline super steel. This one particular is advertised as D2 tool steel. I seriously doubt that, just because it was made in China illegally. But I will say it holds a pretty decent edge, and it will take a phenomenal edge. I mean, you put a razor strop on this with a couple of whetstones, you can get it hair shaving sharp easily. But it's depending on what you're doing, you're going to lose that edge pretty quick. You'll have to sharpen it quite a bit. That's why it's so scratched up and looks like absolute crap, is from polishing the blade and then sharpening the blade and polishing the blade and just doing that over and over again. I'll make I don't know, I might make another video on how to tell real versus fake, but I would never buy one of these used or anything like that, just to avoid that. But another con is, I lost it. What was I going to say? I'm horrible on camera, can you tell? Well, here's one for the Microtech in particular. If you like lanyards on your knives, I know that's kind of an odd topic, really. That could be a whole video all on its own. But on the topic of lanyards anyways, try to get to where you can see it. That's your lanyard hole. And if you look, it's itty bitty. Now that's not a problem, because you can put one of those little tiny key rings that comes with a Victorinox or something like that on there, and then you can loop it around. But the issue lies in how it is canted off to one side. And this isn't going to bother everybody, but if you carry this in your jeans, that's going to be right up against you. So if you have a big bulky ring on there, or you do have string that can fit through there, and you've got a big knot tied up right there, there's potential of it digging into your hip, wearing on your jeans excessively, anything like that. I mean, you kind of have to experiment around, see what works best for it. That's not all OTFs, again, that's just this particular one, the Microtechs. But I mean, I don't like lanyards. It's never bothered me. I'm sure there's a way around it. I mean, you can do pretty much anything nowadays. They've got an invention out there for everything. There's someone that can work around this, I know. But another pro is, if you like to put paracord on your fixed blade knives, you can take the clip off of these, and you can wrap paracord around this portion of it, as long as you steer clear your switch. But you can have a paracord wrapped pocket knife, and it will bulk up the grip a little bit if you have larger hands, and you can just throw the pocket clip back on there and it'll be fine. That's another good pro. Due to the design of these and the ease of use of gloves and everything, they are very, very easy for people with small hands, medium hands, large hands, anything. If it fits in the palm of your hand, you can use it easily. You don't have to worry about a tiny button or a tiny little bar in there for liner lock or anything like that. It's pretty much easy for everybody. If you can pick it up, you can fire it. Now, another con, and a lot of people know this one, a lot of states don't like these. You have to look up your local laws before you purchase one of these, because a lot of states forbid these, period. And different sizes. A lot of states have size limits on them. California is one of them. I can't remember exactly what it was, but I think you can't have one over 2 inches blade length or something like that. But there's a website you can find all of this. It's called uscca.com. You just type in your state, Montana, Arkansas, Delaware, whatever, and then type in USCCA after that. You can go there and you'll get all of your reciprocity laws for concealed carry firearms. But if you keep scrolling, it will cover edged weapons too, and other weapons, I believe, like brass knuckles, stun guns, tasers, batons, etc. But if you check that, you can find out pretty much anything you want to know. There's a lot of websites out there that can help you with that. But if you live in a free state and you can carry an OTF, I'd highly recommend it. I love them. Another thing is, these are fantastic for first responders. I was a fireman for 4 years, and this is what I carried half the time. Because when you're working as a first responder, a lot of the time you're going to have to hold pressure on something, whatever, with one hand while you have to use a knife with the other hand. I don't mean to get morbid or anything. It is what it is. I'm not going to sugarcoat it, but a lot of law enforcement officers end up cutting rope, belts, phone chargers, and all sorts of things from people who try to commit suicide by hanging themselves. OTF knives are a great blade to use for that because they're so easy to grab. There's no safety, locking mechanism, anything to fumble with. You pick it up and you fire it. And you can close it just as fast as you can open it, so you don't have an open knife laying around while you're working on your patient. You can run over there, cut whatever you need to cut, throw it back in your pocket just as quick as you got it out. You can do it all in 3 seconds. They're phenomenal for military and first responders. Another great pro to these, you can actually have a true double-edged blade on them, a dagger blade. I don't have one, but obviously pocket knives that are a little more common, like a liner lock back, button lock, whatever, you can only have your edge on one side because it folds down and it is covered by the handle. On these, the whole blade is covered inside this handle, so you can have a true double-edged blade. Microtech makes some. You can get a plain edge on one side, a full serrated edge on the other. You can get a lot that are designed like a Gerber Mark II, to where the top half is a plain edge and the bottom half is serrated. And I wouldn't ever recommend a knife for self-defense, but some people are just hell-bent on carrying a pocket knife for self-defense. But those would definitely be my choice if I was forced to carry a pocket knife for self-defense. Again, I never recommend a knife for self-defense. If you pull a knife out on a fight, regardless, you're going to get cut. It's going to happen, whether they've got a knife or not. I mean, anything can happen in a fight. There's no such thing as a controlled fight. So, I mean, it's effective. They work, but they're messy, they're dirty, and they're dangerous. As opposed to one of these. I'd use one of these any day over a blade. But, I mean, if it's you or them and you have a knife, grab the knife. It's pretty idiot-proof. But that's pretty much everything I can think of right now. Like I said, I can't stress this enough. Check your laws. Everybody wants a clean record. I'm pretty sure nobody wants to just go hang out at jail. If they do, they've got something wrong with them. But you can get in a lot of trouble with one of these if you have it where you're not supposed to have it and you don't listen to people. So I would definitely check it. And it's one of those things too. You're gonna have a lot of buddies. You're gonna have half your buddies sitting there saying, "Yeah, it's legal here. You can carry those." And you're gonna have half of them, "No, it's illegal. You'll get arrested." And again, it varies state by state. You could get arrested. You could get a misdemeanor. I mean, it's a crapshoot. You never know what's going to happen. If all else fails, I'm sure if you called your local police department, they could probably help you. But anyways, y'all take care. Y'all be safe. Have a good one. And just remember, always carry a knife just in case there's cheesecake or you meet someone who needs to be stabbed. Y'all have a good one.